Well, it sure isn't easy being green, and the rough start to the season continues for the Jets. In Week 5, Gang Green suffered a 37-20 loss to the Dallas Cowboys at MetLife Stadium. So let's break down what went wrong and what's been going wrong for the Jets. We're going to do it with the producer and host for WFAN and the Affinity Sports Network. It's my guy, EJ Stewart. EJ, you're a longtime Jet fan, so I have to ask you because I care. How are you doing?
How am I doing? You got an hour and a couch to spare? I feel like I need a therapy session after watching that game on Sunday.
Not a licensed therapist here, but we're going to try to help the people out there. That's what we're going to try to do today. But you're hanging in there. That's what I hear from that. You're hanging in there as best
Trying,
as you can.
trying.
Okay, that's what I hear. All right, so EJ, let's start with the Jets offense. If you look at the numbers for Justin Fields in this game, it looks pretty good. You put up some good stats. But the Jets offense, if you watch the whole thing, they struggled. The offense has not looked anything like we saw back in week 1 against the Steelers. So for you as a fan, what's been the most frustrating thing for you to watch with this Jets offense?
Well, to me, it's got to be the turnovers. And you're right. Like Justin Fields put up numbers that will look good on the box score, but when you watch the game and you know the story of the game, you know that it's not in any way, a clear picture of what actually happened. But to me, this game that we watched against the Cowboys turned on Brees Hall's fumble, and that's really becoming a very familiar story with the Jets. The Jets could put together a quarter and a half of decent football, or at least competitive football, and a crucial mistake could kill them. Last week it was Braylon Hall's fumble right near the goal line, and then this week here you got Brees Hall fumbling the ball as the Jets are driving with an opportunity to potentially tie the game or cut into the lead going into halftime. And what happens? What was a small issue turned into basically an avalanche of Cowboys touchdowns and big plays, and all of a sudden the game was over. So with the Jets, you don't have a big margin for error, right? You're not going to be a team that's going to make a lot of explosive plays, particularly in the passing game. So you can't kill yourself with turnovers and fumbles. And I've been watching Jets football for what is at this point is probably 25 years. I've never seen a Jets team kill themselves with back-breaking fumbles like this Jet team. It seems to come at the absolute worst time, worst chance for the Jets as they're trying to maybe go ahead in the game or tie a game. It's just killing them. And here you have it again, another week where a game turns on a turnover, and I feel like the game would have been maybe a lot different had that fumble not happened. But that's becoming the big issue with the Jets. The turnovers are killing them.
Turnovers have been killing this team all season long. And I think a lot of people thought coming into this game that the Jets, they were going to be able to move the ball pretty easily on the
Mm.
Cowboys coming into this one. They weren't able to do that coming into this game on this Cowboys defense. However, when you looked at it, it was the other way around. Dallas, they easily moved the ball up and down the field. And the Jets, particularly EJ, they struggled to get off the field on third down. Again, that's another theme we've seen with this squad. What's wrong with this gangrene defense right now in your eyes?
I mean, look, we could point to some of the calls from Steve Wilkes. You could argue that are they playing too much man for a team that doesn't cover well? They're playing too much zone in certain aspects that's allowing a quarterback like that Prescott to pick them apart. But the reality is they don't have enough good players on defense. I mean, we could talk up and down about the scheme, but when you look at the Jets roster in the secondary, they have one corner who at this point looks overpaid with how he's played this season. Sauce Gardner, he got beat deep on the touchdown to George Pickens. And the rest of the guys in secondary that, quite frankly, wouldn't start on any NFL team. Your defensive line, you got Quinnen Williams and you got Will McDonald, who's a good pass rusher, but was probably more of a third down pass rusher than a four down guy. And then a bunch of guys who wouldn't play on any other team. Linebacker position, you got Sherwood, and then a bunch of guys that wouldn't play on any other team. I feel like a broken record, but that is the fact. The Jets don't have enough pieces defensively. This is a team that at one point really, defense was their staple. But when you just look at the roster up and down, they just don't have enough NFL talent to match these teams. It doesn't matter if you're Dak Prescott, if you're Tua Tagovailoa, if you're Aaron Rodgers. It doesn't matter who you are. You see the Jets and you see that green, you're in for a field day. You're in for a potential career day. And that's what we're going to see for the rest of the season with the Jets defense. They don't have the horses, and it's going to take an offseason, I think, to really overturn the roster for at least the defense to see any marginal improvement. I don't see this getting fixed anytime soon.
All right, EJ. Now I'm hearing all this. It sounds like you need that couch and some Jets therapy. That's what it sounds like after all
I've
that.
had a lot. I've had a lot of time thinking about this stuff.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
unfortunate.
You need that couch. We're going to try to get you through this. But EJ, the Jets, they've had 22 head coaches in their history, but none have started 0-5 until now, which is under Aaron Glenn. Is the seat now hot for the first year head coach?
I don't think it should be. Again, when I look at this Jets team, and Aaron Glenn, in some ways, maybe created this hot seat for himself potentially, where talking so much about how the Jets weren't going to be a team that was going to beat themselves, a team that was going to be undisciplined, things that we saw under the Robert Saleh era. And all we've seen this year is the Jets team that seems to have gone backwards when it comes to discipline. They get more penalties. They create more. They get more turnovers. They do more self-inflicted actions that cause them to lose football games. So in many ways, that's allowing a lot of fans and people to point at Aaron Glenn and say, "You said you were going to fix this. Why has this problem gotten worse?" But again, I go back to the roster. This is a team that had a lot of turnover. It had a lot of guys who were going to be dead cap money guys like Aaron Rodgers coming off the books. This was just not going to be a team that was going to be able to turn over the roster in time to probably be as competitive as Jets fans wanted them to be this year. I say give them another year, give them another full off season, and let's see what they are next season. I don't think that Aaron Glenn at this point should be a one and done, but the way this thing is going, with the way the fans and how frustrated they are, just how apathetic they are. I mean, you heard all those Cowboys cheers at MetLife Stadium for a Sunday afternoon game where it was like the Jets fans were basically out of it by halftime. That's not going to be something that Willie Johnson would have liked to have seen. I'm sure that's not going to be something a lot of the media is going to be like to have seen. I'm sure they're going to be getting after the Jets a lot this week. I don't think the heat seat should be hot on Aaron Glenn, but the reality is that the losses keep racking up. There will be questions about his job security.
No, there will be. I do agree with you on the point that, not saying that the seat should be hot for him either, but some of this he has brought on because he said it would be different. It would not be that.
Yes.
That kind of leads me to my next question because nothing gets easier for the Jets as they play the Broncos next week overseas in London. With this 0-5 start to the season, for you, and we know you need to sit on the couch, does this feel like same old Jets, or do you have any hope that this team can start being competitive at least again in 2025?
Oh, 2025 is a wrap. I mean, this thing is over. I mean, if you have any thoughts of the Jets turning this thing around to making some kind of wild card push or push for 500, that's not happening. I think you saw a Jets team that for the first time this season maybe really let go of the rope. I mean, you saw the Miami game, a game that seemed to get away from them. You saw the offense make some plays, the defense make some plays to make it interesting. I felt like once Brees Hall fumbled that football, this is a Jet team that both on defense and offense wanted no part of this game. They didn't start making any push until they were down 27 points, and by that point it was far too late. I expect a lot more of the same from this season. I'm, as a Jet fan, committed fully to the tank. It is now about the 2026 NFL Draft, what potential quarterback or potential game-breaking edge or skill player is going to be available to the Jets to draft, because they're going to need a big infusion of talent over the offseason. Again, this is not going to be a simple change the coach and this thing gets fixed, or you run some extra hard practices. Aaron Glenn had the boxing gloves out to help guys from stopping from the football. Then here they are fumbling the football still. None of this stuff is getting fixed this year. This is going to be all about next year and how they really, again, like I've said a bunch, overturn this entire roster.
Somebody get EJ a couch. It is October 5th, and he is talking about the draft already. Can't say that he's wrong. Jets are 0-5. Not a good start. EJ, I hope the happiness comes with something else, because it didn't come with the Mets. It's not coming with the Jets. We'll see what else happens there. That is EJ
Listen,
Stewart.
we had Knicks basketball is coming up. I'm a Miami Hurricanes fan. They're undefeated, so I got my love is good in other places.
Okay.
It's not happening with NFL football.
We gotta make sure you have some happiness other places in your life. Sports happiness, that is. Obviously, sports is not the end all be all of all happiness, but we're glad that there's some other happiness in terms of sports in your life. Everybody, check EJ out. Produces the Maggie and Perloff Show on the Infinity Sports Network. You can also catch him on WFAN, hosting from time to time. My guy, EJ Stewart, he is going to find a couch. EJ, I appreciate you, man, for coming on and talking some Jets football. I hope the next time I talk to you, something a little bit more positive. Hope so.
I'm hoping for that, too. Thanks for having me, Dex.